I wondered, how fast am I really going by exerting this much effort? First grade. I realized the only way to find that out is to go really calmly and slow, as if I was just doing it normal. So on Wednesday, I got the tickets, and I slowly went through them. Was clear when I saw the name and walked over to their desk, looked at the next name, walked over to their desk to give myself a control, the regular speed, to see how fast I was going. So I walked through the whole thing. When I was finished, I beat my other times by almost 30 seconds. Then I had a new wonder, a new question. Why did that happen? Why do you think? Because I wasn't in a panic. I may have ran physically fast from one desk to the other, but when I was going through the names, my mind was chaotic and cluttered. I wasn't resolving the name and resolving the person's location in the room as fast as I was when I was calm, so the whole thing together happened quicker when I was calm. Just so you understand, if I can extract that just from my life, do you think it's possible that a social engineering agent or a mind scientist, propaganda agent knows the same thing about the human mind? That when it's in fear, anxiety, or panic, that it cannot think, it cannot retain? Do you think that might have something to do with how they're flooding you with all of this stuff about the New World Order, mind control, FEMA camps, all at once, and using fear? Do you think they may know that your mind will lock up and you won't be able to put two and two together? Is that a possibility? I just want you to consider that, okay? Look at what Alex Jones does with his movie Endgame. By the time you're done watching that, where's the solution? You're overloaded with things that you are not ready to hear, and you're not in the right state of mind to hear it. When I saw that, I applied all of the lessons that I've extracted from my life and the knowledge, and am doing what I'm doing now. What is that? You see, I learned pretty quick. I was guided by my spirit to correct my errors. You see, when I first came on YouTube, when I first came on, I never planned on putting videos. People say, what does Adampants mean? There's no meaning. I have a friend named Adam. One day he needed to make a username for something. I don't know. I'm sitting in his house. I'm like, come on, just come up with something so I can send you this link or whatever. I think it was email. He couldn't think, so he's just looking down in his lap, and then all of a sudden he types Adampants. I'm like, Adampants? He's like, yeah, I'm Adam. These are my pants. And I started laughing. That made me laugh. Well, I think I wanted to send somebody an email or make a comment, and I couldn't think of a name either, and I never thought I would put videos. I didn't think it mattered. So because I couldn't think of a name, that made me laugh. So I'm like, okay, Adam Pants. So I just put that there, and then it stuck because I put the first video up under that name. But there's no meaning in that. I mean, maybe synchronicity of life, maybe Adam and Eve, now we're Adam with pants, I don't know. But, I mean, that's where that came from. Anyway, my first video on YouTube was me experiencing anxiety. I knew how much I knew and what I was aware of, and I knew that the people that would be listening to me didn't know, and I knew that part of what they didn't know was that which would keep them from paying attention or believing what I'm saying. It's not that I couldn't make them understand, but I knew the control over beliefs in the mind was strong enough to get them to turn away from the video before I was able to show them. Meaning, I knew I could explain it. I knew I had that ability. But I was very anxious because I knew I could feel that a lot of people would turn away from the recording because of their laziness, because of their lethargy, their low attention span, their preconceived core beliefs, the rolling of the eyes, their totally programmed minds. Before I could show them that they're programmed, they would click off of the video. And that put me into a huge state of anxiety. And so there was a lot of good information in that, but it was also Number one, the recording quality wasn't very good, but in the beginning I was just bitching and bitching and bitching because I was angry, and I was angry at the future. I was angry at knowing that a lot of people wouldn't listen. I was worried about whether I was going to fail or succeed. Do you understand? And that inhibited my expression in the moment. As I was taken through my path, many lessons were quickly shown to me. What is a lesson other than putting two and two together in your own life, in your own path, and your spirit will do that for you? Just be mindful of the truth you feel inside. I've grown a lot since I first came on YouTube a year ago. What I would say now is not what I would say before. Not that what I said before isn't valid. It was valid for progression. But I calmed down because I realized that was it. I remembered the exam. I remembered the lunch tickets. I remembered how the mind locks up in anxiety. I started reading all the books because I did do my research. I had read hundreds and hundreds of pages of Fritz Springmeier, read 4 of David Icke's books, not to regurgitate them, but to see what was being said to people. I realized when I read The Biggest Secret that that was a very traumatic book. Fritz Springmeier stuff is very traumatic, and I knew people better than the people giving out this information. I'm not saying that David Icke's intentions are bad. I think he does a great job speaking. He gives from himself. But there are things that I know. I know people. I am a very sympathetic person to both sexes. I know people, and I know the mind from my own experience, not from a book. And I thought, wait a minute. These people need to be enabled first. Because if they're not enabled, perhaps they didn't put 2 and 2 together from experiences in their life yet. If they didn't do that, and they're going on a superficial meaning basis, they're fucked. I knew that right away. Holy shit, they're going to be... Wait a minute. And then I started understanding anarchy. It was just a huge red flag. So I stopped, recalibrated, and went back to the beginning. If people are not enabled, then all of this information will paralyze them. And I told you that in The Healing Begins Now. How am I going to enable you? Well, I'm following the path. Again, I'm not really worried about whether I fail or succeed. I don't have a particular objective in mind. I don't have a particular goal or an outcome. Because that's the end justifying my means. And I won't allow that to happen. I know what people need. They need to learn to extract meaning from their own life. And it can happen, but here's the deal. The brain, if it's going to rewire itself to accommodate that type of thinking, reason and logic and actually pattern recognition, the brain will have to rewire to accommodate that if you're going to do it in conscious awareness. That takes some time. So I have to catalyze that process and be patient. That's why it's almost a year later now. I have a lot of knowledge to share, but if I just went bleh with everything I know, if I truly cared about you, then by doing that, I would be hurting you, which would be a direct contradiction. You've got to take the whole picture into account. It may suck to have it take this long, and that may be excruciating to wait for people to catch up. But if you truly care about them, that's what you're going to do. So I know what I'm doing, kind of. I will give opinions that I've extracted from my own life, yes, but I will always, if you notice, show you how I reach that. And the way that I show you keeps you from trying to copy it. At least I do that the best I can. I think I've done a decent job as one person trying to address many people. And I'm not strategizing too much, because if I'm strategizing with what I say, then I inhibit the flow of my speech.